Hello everybody, this is KL Tech Nerd welcoming you to another Satisfactory episode. This is episode 9 of season 1. When update 6 comes out of Satisfactory, I'm going to move on to season 2. But for right now, I wanted to finish off season 2 with me getting done the steel factory I was planning on doing. I am not going to do the weapons factory that I was planning on doing, but that's mainly because the ingredients for a lot of the ammo and grenades and things like that are changing in update 6. Yes, they are changing. So I feel like by the time that I get that video out, it will no longer really matter as much as it used to. So what I'm probably going to do is do a weapons one pretty soon into season 2. But for now, I thought I would at least finish off season 1 showing off my steel factory. So let's get into it. The factory for total uses up about 924 megawatts. That is a lot of power, but you also get a lot of items with it. Now, if you don't want to build this factory, you can split it in half. I kind of made it so you could split it in half, and I myself can split it in half by turning off power to half the factory. So if I turn off power to half the factory, I could save myself 447 megawatts. If I run it halfway, and then if I just turn off the entire factory, I am saving myself 924 megawatts. The sink alone uses up 30 megawatts, so that's kind of what I'm working with here. Now, this factory, if you wanted to build it yourself, the entire factory, you would need about 900 limestone, 1440 iron ore, and then 1440 coal. Now, the iron and the coal get turned into steel ingots, which then get turned into steel beams and steel pipes. If you wanted to run the factory at half, all you would need to do is divide each of these by half, so you would only need 720 steel ingots and 720 of these and 450 of these. Now, the nice thing about the way that I designed my factory is that if you wanted to, using this, I can turn off half the factory. But I can also go throughout the factory and turn off, like some of the Encased Industrial Beams machines. So I would be getting 30 Encased Industrial Beams, and then I would just get 120 steel beams, and then 150 concrete, along with 30 Encased Industrial Beams. So this whole factory could make all 4 items at once, simultaneously. But if you run it at full power, you'll get 60 Encased Industrial Beams, and using smart splitters, when this fills up, then the concrete and then the steel beams will just get put into a storage container. Let's see the storage containers. So I put it up front here, nice and sleek. I could have put lights here, but that would also deduct from my power budget. And I was already pushing getting 1 kilowatt. And I was already getting kind of scared by that. But right here, you can kind of see that I have the concrete already getting backed up. Right now, I should not be getting much concrete because I do have the other machine on. Right here's my pipes. That's full, so that filled up pretty fast. And these filled up, which means that these should be running at pretty much full, and what do you know, they're all full. So when it runs like that, this machine, the Awesome Sink, will take all of those items and turn it into extra coupons. So you can kind of see right there, I have the pipes. And you know what, let's go and slow that down a bit so maybe you could see some of it. But you can kind of see right there, you have pipes and then the industrial beams. I don't have anything else other than the Encased Industrial Beams and the pipes, because by the end of the day, since the steel beams and the concrete get used to make the Encased Industrial Beams, by getting rid of these, I'm just saving myself a little bit of some room and getting enough items to do the coupons. And once all of those items fill up, hey, I'm running at full capacity. So this whole factory, in the time it took for me to make it, is already pretty full. So let's go over the components that you need to be able to make this if you wanted to make it on your own. If we go right here, it'll be This whole factory can fit onto 16 by 5 foundations. So right here we have 5. And then if we go along here, there's 16 in this box. And if you want to include the little porch that I made here that the awesome sink is on, that would be 19 foundations by 5. But this entire thing is pretty much 16 by 5. So if you decide to do this on your own and it's running at full capacity, hey, you're getting yourself all those coupons. It is going to be working out beautifully. So if you do run this at full capacity, that's great. If not, don't forget to divide everything by 2. The only exception is the foundries. So I ended up putting the foundries onto 2 floors. In each floor, you're getting 720 steel ingots. So if you wanted to make this at half, all you would need to do is just do 1 floor of foundries, and it would still be 16 foundries, and you'd be getting 45 in each. The total that you're looking for is 720 steel ingots. So that's kind of the little mathematical equation that we're going for. But because we have both, our max output is 1440. I also took the extra step when I made this factory to split it. So half the factory is being done on 1 floor of foundries, and then the other half is doing in the other. So if you did this on your own, you could just divide it by 2. And you could probably actually get away with just 2 floors, because the steel beams and then the steel pipes are each on their own floor. So if we go right here, you can kind of see that right here we have 8 of them, and then right here we have another 8. So half the ingots are going over here, and then the other half are going over here. And that was mainly done to balance it and to make it so it'd be a little bit more optimized and even. And then that way, if you turn off the power, you're still turning off just half. So by going down here and going in here, we can still turn off half the factory. And it turns off exactly half the factory. So if you wanted to make this halfway, you could just make it halfway. You might be able to save a few floors. This is pretty big considering. Now, for the steel pipes, for that, we're taking in 30 steel ingots per constructor. And then we have 16 constructors, so we need 480 steel ingots. And then we're getting, because you get 20 steel pipes per constructor, we're getting 320 total. Now that I could have put motors into and things like that, but at one point you got to kind of cut off the factory. And I decided to cut it off here because you could do like nobelisks with it. You could do stators with it. You can do so many different things. Is it stators or rotors? It's one of those two. I could basically use these to make motors as well, but the factory could only get too large, and it would be difficult to cover the entire factory if you went and if I did everything in this one factory, and then it wouldn't be as even as it currently is, so that would be a problem too. So right here you can kind of see how I did this. There's 4 on one side, 4 on the other. So if you want to do this at half, you just need 8 constructors, and then for the entire factory, you would just need 16. And little piece of advice, I did put the power going down over here. So right here too, I could turn off half the factory and then half the factory. So if I decided I didn't want pipes and I wanted to let the steel ingots back up, I could. I also put stairs in this corner. So if you're doing this and you don't have the mod that lets you fly, you can also just do stairs in this corner, and it's a pretty nice way of getting around. He'll definitely become the stair master doing that. You know what I'm saying? So let me seal that back up right now and up to the next floor. So it's the same thing. You need 60 steel ingots, and then there's 16 constructors. Now total, you're getting 960, and through just half you're getting 480. So right here I did need, the reason why I highlighted that is because I did need to have 2 different belts to bring up the steel. So that's another reason to split the factory in two, because I needed 2 belts anyway, so I might as well go and then have the factory run at half. And then you have 2 belts, so then there's 2 inputs, so I can overcome the fact that the 960 is a little bit too much than what the belts can do right now in this current update. And up here, I'm making my concrete. So right here, 900 limestone is becoming 300 concrete. Same thing, I needed 2 belts for all that limestone. You can kind of see both belts right here. I kind of like the look of it being through the window, so that's definitely a good option. So same thing, you have 20 constructors though this time, making 15 concrete. So if you want to see how I laid it out, I mainly laid it out right here. So I have 10 right here, I have 2 in the center, and then 10 right here. I always have 2 on the edges. That's because I need 1 for the belts, and then 1 just because I like the breathing room. And it works out pretty good, so I can get full concrete, and because I have 2 belts, that's fine. Now, after I make the concrete, because the limestone needed that, but the concrete is definitely enough, so it all gets put into 1 belt. And then it goes up to the assemblers. This is the final floor on this particular build. So if you go right here, same thing. I have 5 right here, and then 5 right here. Same thing though, they're all taking the exact same amount of items. Everything's pretty much optimized, so it's all running at 100%. And I'm getting 60 encased industrial beams in just this one factory. And these 10 machines are always running. But like I said before though, if you yourself wanted to have the other items come out as well, what you can do is turn off half, and then you'll get 30 encased industrial beams, and then you'll just be getting half of the items from this one, or you can turn off both sides, and then you can get the steel beams, and then the concrete, and you're good to go. And then if you ever want the encased industrial beams, you could just turn this back on, turn this back on, and you are good to go. One more quick note that I wanted to mention. I was able to fit the assemblers in the top floor to build the encased industrial beams, but by just barely. So what I ended up doing is there's no belt in between these 2 sides. I barely even know how it works, but what I do know is that when I put down the conveyor hole, I did the same thing I did with everything else, where I put it 1 spot away from the wall, so it's just as close as everything else. But what I ended up doing was putting the assembler as close to it as I could. So let me just kind of line this up to kind of show everybody. So it's kind of crammed in here. I didn't have walls when I did this originally, so it was a lot easier. And epic fail. Okay, cool. So what I did is, that should be, you know what? This is getting goofy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just do this. So don't put the walls up until you're sure. Anyway, okay, so put this right here. I lined it up right here. If you are doing this on your own, it gets to be kind of a pain, but if it turns yellow, that means you're too close. It needs to be just 1 more away from that. And then when you put in the conveyor belt, it should connect like that. And that's fine. It lets it run like that. And it's just kind of bizarre, but that's the only way that I was able to get the assemblers to fit. Because otherwise, I would have had to have these connect, and I don't know how well they would have connected. So, but I was able to fit the assemblers in a 5 space, but that's also another reason why in the next time that I build this, I'm probably going to build it 7 wide, because it would give me more room, and it would let me put more decoration on the outside and do things like that. So that's definitely something to consider. if you do decide to make this and you make it 5 wide, don't forget to go and put the assemblers as close as you can to the belt. Otherwise, it is not going to fit. I mean, unless you want to have it overhang the side, but generally speaking, I really do like how sleek it is not having the belts on the outside. I mean, in the early versions of the game, like Update 4, it was kind of cool having the belts on the outside, but I also had like holes right here. And this one, it's just nice and sleek. And unless you want to have the belts hang on the outside, that's the one way that I found out to get the assemblers to work, and they do indeed connect. So thank you so much. I hope this helps. Have a great day. Bye. Now, the reason why I built the factory the way that I did, in including the pipes, even though technically I don't really need the pipes, is because otherwise it wouldn't be running at 100%. The steel pipes is really just to use up those extra steel ingots so nothing gets backed up. And otherwise, it would not be 100% efficient. Plus, you might eventually need the steel pipes for other things. One particular thing that I would do if the Noblex weren't going to change their recipe, I don't know, maybe I'll do this in Update 6 just to show it off, is you can have the output go right here, and then you can have this go to a Noblesk factory or to a motor factory or something else that'll bring you more resources, and that'll use up those steel pipes. And that's definitely what I would be doing if I needed to have another factory. Is it would definitely be tempting to have this go to another factory and then just leave this as the Encased Industrial Beams factory, and hey, you're getting some pipes too for when you need those. So that's kind of where things are in my current steel factory in this particular game save data. If you look over here, this is the Fix-It factory for the first Fix-It that I was involved in. You can kind of see the trees off to here. You could still see the belts on the side. I did choose, though, in this factory to not have the belts going up the side, since we do have the decorations of Update 5. So that's pretty much an Update 4 factory. This is definitely an Update 5 factory. I definitely like the cleaner look of having the belts go through the floor using the different openings. The only thing is I'm kind of starting to wonder if maybe in a future update I shouldn't put the wall go back 1, and then I can have these belts still be exposed to the outside, but I'm pretty sure that it does help the lag, because when you move a certain distance away, all of a sudden these get solid and you really can't see anything in them. As where these, I don't know, it might still be activating. I could kind of still see some of the different machines. So it definitely, I feel like this one's a little bit more efficient. And if you want me to, please leave a comment in the comments section, and I will definitely talk about my aluminum factory that's over there in the corner. Although I'm probably going to build that one in my building 3.0 building style that I'm working on for my next game save data. So what I'm probably going to do with that is this is kind of my 2.0 build style. And I'm thinking about getting rid of the stuff in the middle and then just having the machines. If I did a steel factory again, it would probably be 7 wide. And I'll admit I'll probably just throw in the motors or throw in the Noblesks, because those would definitely be something that would be very, very useful to do. The only reason why I wouldn't is because then I'd need to bring in rubber and stuff for the ammunition. And I don't know how I feel about putting too much in this factory. I really do like the idea of this being a 60 encased industrial beams factory that you can also use to get concrete, and then steel beams and steel pipes, since that's also kind of part of the same tree. And look at all the steel, 1440 steel ingots. So that's kind of where things are in this factory. I had a lot of fun building this. Thank you very much. If you want to see me build things like this, you can visit me during the live streams. And that's pretty much what I wanted to cover. Other than that, if you want to see, I probably really should work on the belts over here, but this is everything getting brought into the factory. So this is the iron, the coal, the limestone. I needed two sides to it because otherwise the limestone would go overflow. And for the coal and then the iron, I needed it because it would overflow as well on the 2 floors that I have it getting made. So if you want to build this, please let me know if you end up using this video to build anything. I would greatly appreciate finding out. I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Thank you so much. And I will see everybody in the next video. Thank you so much. And if you like this video, please don't forget to hit subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and it lets me know that people are watching, and it lets you know when I start live streaming or when I upload another video. Also, please hit the like button, because then that way I know that people are liking the video and that it's helping somebody. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Oh, and please feel free to hit to comment in the comments section, letting me know what other factories you think I should build. Before the update, should I look at my aluminum factory? Before the update, should I search the abandoned ruins of my factory over there, or my stator factory that's over there? I believe it's the stators. I also have battery stuff over here that I, in my new game save world, is hoping to use to make a lot of batteries. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Have a wonderful day. I hope to see everybody in the next live stream. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Bye.